Hi, and welcome to the Little Western Model Railway. I'm James, and today we're going to be talking about this. The Bachmann 45XX number 4539 in Great Western green livery. Now, I love this locomotive. If I bring it a little bit closer, you can see the livery application, although rather dusty as I need to give it a clean, looks fantastic. The black down to green. Of course, we would prefer, the matte finish of a smokebox, but being a 2014 model, I think it is exquisite. There are only one or two gripes I have with the model itself. Being secondhand, there is a slight warp, I think, on the running plate, which is probably due to the body not being put back on properly, so I will take another look at that again. I only noticed it actually as I was recording a few of these segments. Also, you can't really see any mold lines on the boiler and everything, but you can clearly see one on the back of the safety valve and the front of the safety valve, which does detract a little bit from it. There was no real glue markings, no nothing like that. Everything else looks fantastic, including the interior, which you can get at by taking off the body, which I'll show in another video, not in this video actually. You can get inside, you can detail, which means you can also put crew in here as well, and you could paint it if you like, but it looks amazing. The coal load, it would be nice. It does look good, a bit shiny maybe, but some real coal definitely is needed. The underframe mechanism also looks really nice, really good. I like the way the ponies are being done. They've got some strips there for springing, pickups on all wheels, one set of driving wheels in the center, not really much else to say. Now, when I first got this, I did have a few running issues. It was secondhand, so not the end of the world, something to expect. I have rectified that, but I will mention that particularly in the running shots. So anyway, we're going to get this down on the Lazy Susan and have a little bit more of a look. So now we can get some personally close shots of this lovely beauty. And I'm hoping this new phone camera is doing this justice. As from my screen, it looks amazing. You can see all the specks of dust where I need to clean the locomotive. Now let me get a pointy stick. So we can see that unfortunately the dome is just painted in a rather gold colour rather than a brass colour. The whistle as well is also painted, although they are both separately fitted. The glazing is pretty flush, it looks good, feels good. There's a plethora of other fitted detail as well, including lamp brackets in the normal places. The handrails look great. As I said, the livery finish looks amazing too. The fake holo, which is not removable, it does also give off a good aesthetic, but again, could look better. The buffers are sprung, which I know a lot of people do care about. In 00, again, it's not required, it's just one of those features. But all in all, it looks good. If we have a look at the side, there we go. You can see the lovely detail of the valve gear on this side with its 3 axles, one of which is a little bit loose. This may be because my base keeper plate is a little bit out of touch. Flip this over this way, probably should have done it that way in the first place. And again, we can see, the front axle of mine is a little bit loose. But this comes down to my one issue that I have had with this locomotive. Now, the issue in question is relating to this part here. Now, it didn't affect running, but what it did affect was how the running looked. So locomotives do waddle, but they shouldn't waddle as much as this was. And what was happening is that this piece here, this plastic piece here, was not fixed in place, and it was able to move. And I think what happened was, while it was running, or at least what I can tell happened while it was running, is that it was pushed out of place, and then it was ended up pushing the body up with each rotation. So all I did was put it back. It was you know, when I was disassembling, I put it back in, tiny dot of super glue, and everything ran fine, as you'll see in a few moments. The underside of the base keeper plate, you can see all the lovingness. I have had some issues with the ponies in reverse. I do need to probably just give it a clean and just give it again a run in. It might just be my terrible point work, but we'll see on the updated stuff. So other than that, it is a beautiful locomotive. I do love me a prairie. And I can't wait for rapidos. Not that the Bachmann one is anything to be shy at. It's a lovely model, it's a beautiful model, it runs well, and it disassembles very, very easily, which is what we're going to do right now. So, disassembling the prairie couldn't be more simple. It's a case of move the front axle out of the way, and you will see a screw here. Then on the back axle you do exactly the same, and you'll see a screw here. Simply remove and you are presented with the mechanism. So, what happened was this piece here had snapped from a bit too much pressure on the screw, so I just glued it back in place and it worked. So this comes with a 8-pin DCC socket, nice looking motor, I believe it's a 3-pole motor, but don't quote me on it, I'll have to double check that. The interior of the body, incredibly lightweight. You could probably fit a small decoder down the front, which is what I plan to do. You can unscrew and take off the chassis so you can gain access to the cab and such, but I won't be doing that. To get access to the base keeper plate, simply remove these 3 screws and the base keeper plate will come off, and you can do servicing under there and such, and the relative screws for the ponies. But essentially, very easy model to take apart and service, so Bachmann should be praised for it. So, there we have it, Bachmann Prairie 45XX class. Now, this model is the 32131 with an 8-pin DCC socket, which according to the model rail database, which is what I use for a lot of my resources in finding, buying locomotives and getting some information about them, it was released in 2014, 15, 16, 17 and 18, which, you know, given that, it's not a terrible price. And at the moment, this exact model, 2 of them are going for 130 and 180 pounds. That's the 180 pounds is for a DCC sound fitted version on a well-known auction site. But you can find these at retailers for a very recent price, and I'll stick 1 or 2 links in the channel description. But enough of me talking, let's get this down on the track, give you some history, and watch it run a bit. The Great Western Railway 4500 class, or Small Prairie, was a 262 tank locomotive. Originally designed for small mixed traffic and mainly used on branch lines, they were an extension of the earlier 4400 class, but with larger driving wheels and altered wheel spacing to give them extra speed capabilities of around 60 miles an hour in service. With a total of 75 built between 1906 and 1924. There are 3 currently in preservation: number 4555 Warrior, number 4561, and number 4566. So what can I say about the Bachmann 45XX class? Other than I really like it. I want to get a few more. And based off my likings of this, I also want to get one of the 4575 class from Bachmann. It really is nice and smooth. This is on DC power, the standard Hornby controller through a standard wall wart. And yeah, it really is a nice runner. So I can't wait to get it on DCC. I'm debating whether to go straight to DCC ready, to DCC with a standard 8-pin decoder, or whether or not to splurge out and get a sound file for it. Probably an ESU version 5, maybe with a wheel tappers or something else. You know, I prefer the ESU decoders. But I digress. I really like this model. There's not really much else to say about it, honestly. It's in the livery that I like. You know, I think 1 or 2 things I would definitely change would be the dome and the whistle would be better if it was metal without the mold lines. And that's about it, honestly. Everything else, every other detail on it looks phenomenal. So yeah, I can't wait to get it running on DCC, so I can see how smooth we can get that crawl. I don't trust the crawl with a standard 19 volt DC controller. It takes a little bit of time to properly power up. This speed that it's at now is, I would say, probably about 30% of the total power, and it's a nice runner. I put it up to about 35 when I add the coaches and a few clips. But other than that, it really is a lovely smooth runner, both forward and reverse. I've had no issues with the ponies over point work on my friend's layout. So yeah, really happy with this. So if you're going to get one, I do recommend going to get one. I really do. Now that's going to be all from me. I want to say thank you very much for checking out this video. I know it's a little bit different than what I'm used to throwing out. I had some issues with some editing software, so I had to throw it all together very quickly to try and keep myself on sort of schedule. I'm still a day late, but I've allocated a lot of time coming up to get some content ready, do some work on the layout, and also start churning out some regular content for you guys. So I really hope that you enjoy it. So if you like the video, please like it. If you want to subscribe and watch out for the rest of my offerings, then please do. Otherwise, I'll say thank you again, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.